Alright, today we are talking about how to create a book description for your Amazon page that sells more copies. Let's dive in. I'm excited. Let's dive in. So today we're gonna go through a 6-step approach and exactly step by step on how to craft a masterpiece, how to craft a book description that is really high quality, number one, and that leads a person to make a better decision and hopefully to buy your book. So that's the whole goal of this video. We're not gonna go very broad. We're gonna focus on the steps. We're gonna go step by step. We're gonna be 6 steps in total. 6 steps on how to craft a perfect book description for any nonfiction book. So if this is what you're looking for, let's dive in. Number one, you have to have a very strong headline, primarily that focuses on either the biggest pain point or that focuses on the biggest desire of that particular customer. Now, depending on the saturation in the market, how many books are there on the subject, the headline of your book description is going to be the one that is targeting a specific thing that a person is thinking about that right now. For example, let's say I'm searching for a book about how to manage my emotions, for example, right? And you have to think about what am I thinking about, right, in that particular moment as I'm searching for the book, right? What is my biggest frustration? Because probably I have a frustration that is bothering me. That's why I go to Amazon and I search for a book that can help me solve my problem. This is where most non-fiction books, most how-to books come into this equation, right? So think about the biggest problem or the biggest desire that I'm thinking about, and this is where your main headline is going to be, and you're never going to go wrong with that, right? You don't have to overthink it. Just think about the biggest problem or the biggest desire. Now, the second step is very important, can be very powerful. 3 questions. Ideally, 3 pain point questions, right? Usually, there's one big frustration, for example, and there are 3 pain questions, 3 different biggest pains that I'm dealing with. For example, again, if we're going back to the mental health example, day-to-day basis, right, that you want to address is for example, you have a question, something like, do you have to constantly think about X on X and X days, right? Or do you need a solution to this and this, right? Do you constantly feel bothered by X and X, for example, right? So I'm just again shooting some things from the top of my head here, but 3 powerful pain point questions is something that can be really powerful and can lead a person to the next step of your book description. So you're more excited. Now they're thinking, well, I understand your problem. I understand that you know what my problem is. That's the most important part here. This is the most important thing here. So you have to understand that very well. Right. So step number 3 is the introduction. The only goal of the introduction is to create a human touch, to make them think that you understand them. A little story, a little imagination, right? So you're just showing that you know where they are. Nothing more, right? You know where they are. And then they're thinking, your reader's thinking, well, this person knows. Let me continue reading. That's the only goal of the introduction of the description. All right, now next one, the bullet points. Now the bullet points, I usually suggest not to have many bullet points. 5 to 7 is usually the ideal number. And if you're not an experienced copywriter, for example, my suggestion would be to stick to 1-line bullet points. Do not get into multiple line, big explanation bullet points. The biggest desire, the biggest benefit. That's it. Bullet points are the benefits, the biggest benefits of your book, right? Just my strong suggestion here for you is write down as many benefits that your book might have for the ideal reader. Write 10, write 20, and then circle around those that you think are the most important. 5 to 7 again, right? And then you're gonna include those benefits as bullet points. Let's not complicate that. It's gonna be just great. Biggest benefits, 5 to 7. Let's move on. All right, step number 5, objection handling. Another short paragraph, just like the introduction here. Last, objection handling. I know that you're thinking about, this is not one of those books about this and this. This book is something completely different, right? This is what you are telling to your readers, right? You want to show them how this book is different to any other book or any other approach they tried before. So now they're thinking, well, this is something worth trying. Nothing more than that. Like a couple of sentences, 2 to 3 sentences. Let's move on to the next step. Step number 6, very simple. Most authors miss that. You have to put that in a very subtle way. Call to action. Grab your book right now. Click this and this button right now. That's it, right? Do not make it bold. Just a simple line, 5 to 6 words. Scroll up, click on this button right now. That's it. This is the end of your book description. 6 steps. If you nail all the 6 steps right away, your book description is gonna be very well. It's gonna be very good, and people are gonna believe in that, and people are gonna be more convinced to buy your book once they click on that book cover, once they click on that title, and once they get excited. They get excited about your book, and they're much more willing to buy your book if all those 6 steps are implemented. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is it for today. If you're writing your book description, implement these 6 steps. Other than that, see you in the next video.